must I do to be saved? Sell all your goods and give it to the poor. So they laid Jesus Christ in his grave. They nailed him there to die on a cross in the sky. The lightning, the thunder, and the rain. Judas Iscariot committed suicide when they laid poor Jesus in his grave. When the love of the poor shall someday turn to hate, the patience of the workers gives away. 'Twould be better for you rich if you never had been born. So they laid Jesus Christ in his grave. This song was written in New York City, of rich man and preachers and slaves. Jesus was to preach what he preached in Galilee. They would lay Jesus Christ in his grave.
Thank you, Woody Guthrie. Of course, Woody would make it into a worker song, as he was wont to do. Psalm 71, 19 through 21 is what I'm rolling through this week. Also, your righteousness, O God, is very high. Or, another translation is, to the height of heaven. You who have done great things, O God, who is like you? You who have shown me great and severe troubles shall revive me again, and bring me up again from the depths of the earth. You shall increase my greatness, and comfort me on every side. Now, it's funny to me because I am, it's been an up and down year for me, and emotionally, and in terms of faith, and even just my very emotional, spiritual texture has been pretty well leant forward, and kind of pushing, and knowing that he's always there to catch me, so I don't have to worry about how far I'm leaning. But definitely, as the end of the year starts to draw nigh, and it may not be that nigh for y'all, but it is December, isn't it, by now? Today is December. There you go. So it is the last month, and I know we have just had 3 weeks straight of family intensity, which has been a super, super blessing, and then we're going to have family intensity in another 2 weeks. So I guess this 2 weeks is going to be my LA family and my friend family. And for me, at end of the year, no matter what, no matter how I try to be whatever, it's just another day, it always becomes that time of reflection, and I like it for that you're grateful. It becomes your Thanksgiving period. From Thanksgiving to the end of the year, it becomes your time to be grateful. But even as you're being grateful, I think my very nature, maybe human nature, draws you directly into the opposite as well. So as you're counting your blessings, you're also counting the things you would like to be saying thanks for, but you don't have, which I think is a funny condition. I don't know if you share that, but I do. So I'm totally in that period, and I'm actually having a harder time internally with just the simplicity of walking in faith of provision than I have much of the year. Because I guess right now I feel like I already see some of the blessings he's laid out and he's sowing for early next year. So I'm kind of I just want to get done with this. And indeed, doesn't that speak to our entire thing about life, right? I just want to get to the end of this. I just want to figure this all out. But this is, again, this whole life that God has set up for us is about great and severe troubles and being revived again and again and again. And every time, really, we are revived. I almost feel like when we are beat down, we're just running out. We're just till we're finally Lord, what the heck? Help me up. And when he does, every time, it's like a new baptism. It's a renewal of faith. It's a renewal of joy. And it's also, I think it's of a baptism, too, in that it can help us, help me shed the things that I cling to, the dead things that I cling to, because I still cling to dead things, or else this would all be easy, or a lot be easier anyway. So I'm still clinging to the things of this world. I'm still clinging to desires that aren't just merely provisionary or helpful, but sometimes are selfish, you know, or sometimes involve my desire as an actor for aggrandizement, you know, and vainglory. Vainglory. And also, too, I just feel like, just general, I know there are other aspects that don't even have to do with this specific thing, but I know in some way that the Lord is always working on me in any dead sin thing that I still cling to, in any thing of death. And I was just thinking about that, clinging to death, clinging to the dead things. Bring me up again from the depths of the earth, you know, which is just to be laid low. But also, I feel like there's something stuck about that, too, and something stinking and old and dead. And I was actually thinking about it. I was like, it's funny when we, you know, when God yanks the scales from our eyes and is like, here's who you are. Here's who I can make you to be. Do you want that? And you're like, yay! And then it's tough, but you're still like, yay! And then, you know, there's lots of verbiage that speaks to, like, you know, cleansed garments and stuff. And I was just picturing this morning in the things I cling to, and still probably I still feel like my number one hardest thing that I cling to, my death thing that I cling to is lust. And if I'm being guarded, aided, in kindness and in love and in purity during the day, my dream life is still a tricky bag of bones. But I'm working on that too, because I'm a lucid dreamer, so I feel responsible then, you know, as responsible as any time, whereas it used to be my, like, playground. Kill, kill, kiss, kiss, la, la, la. But I was just thinking about that with the cleansed garments. I was just thinking, in some ways, since you're clinging to something that you know is not the transformative usage of what God has created, that you're kind of clinging to death itself. That I thought of it as like a big old like pot roast, right? You get a pot roast, and then maybe you cook it for like 20 minutes, so it isn't really even cooked, and then you leave it out in the sun or in even like a moist place for, let's say, 4 months, and it just smells like straight up death, and then that's your pillow. Because do we not use things of death? Do we not use the sin things to comfort us, right? We use them in comforting ways, almost in the same way that, like, I don't know, when you're hooked on cigarettes or whatever, and you're just like, this is good, even though this doesn't taste good, it makes my breath stink and my beard smell weird, but like, it's a comfort, I think, first and foremost, because we're comforted by our former things. But here we're using as a pillow, comfort, a thing of death. So if you're ever going through suffering, man, I think, not all the time, but certainly many of the times I've gone through periods of suffering, it was to wrench dead things out of my hands, you know, and it felt like punishment, and what's going on, I didn't even know it was related to that thing, but man, I'm sleeping on a pillow of rotting meat in my nice clean robes now with little maggots and sticky bits on them. Oh. That was a lot of tumbling thoughts, I realize, but such is today, such is Le Tuesday. Amen. Al Selah.